Can mineralization still occur while you're taking finasteride? In today's video, I will talk about this problem because I experienced it myself and I want to share my experience and what happened and how I was able to solve this issue. And for you guys who are nutritional, my name is Alex, I'm a certified trichologist, and previously I was a hair loss sufferer who was doing the hair loss for almost a decade before I was able to grow back my own hair, and that was 13 years ago, and to this day I still have full set of hair. So when it comes to mineralization, like what happens when there is mineralization is that follicles start to shrink, and is usually occurring because of DHT sensitivity, right? So DHT causes that the follicles gets affected by it and they start to shrink over time. And as each cycle goes by, what happens is that they eventually will disappear. So this is a problem, and if you are having androgenic alopecia, you have to address it. And when it comes to mineralization of the follicles, like what I noticed when I was looking at my microscope pictures from 2011, 2012, is that I had a lot of mineralization going on as well, but at that time I was on finasteride for about 4.5, 5 years at that time, right? So finasteride didn't completely stop mineralization, and the reason for it was that I was also having scalp inflammatory problem. So inflammation can affect mineralization, right? It can impact it and it can affect how well finasteride, for example, works for you, right? In my case, for example, what happened, I had a very good results with finasteride for two first years taking it, but after, when I got scalp inflammatory problem, that effect stopped, and I had basically a lot of shedding, a lot of scalp problems, and finasteride just didn't work. And when I looked at microscope pictures, I did see that there was mineralization occurring as well while I was taking finasteride. And what happened afterwards is that I started to work on my inflammatory problems, right? So I started to work on addressing inflammations that I was having on my scalp. And you can see in those pictures here that I had a lot of problems on my scalp, like there was excessive oil, there was excessive sebum around my follicles, there was a lot of redness or inflammatory problem with my scalp, a lot of flakiness on the scalp. Like those things are problematical for the follicle health. Like it can weaken the follicles, especially if there is multiple factors is occurring at the same time. And then what happened is that I was able to solve the scalp inflammatory problems by addressing the underlying factors that was causing it. Like in my case, first and most important factor was in terms of my diet, in terms of trigger foods and gut health. Like that was a huge issue for me, right? And I was able to solve those issues, and I was able to fix my scalp itself, get back my scalp in the balance by addressing the underlying problems, by rebalancing scalp environment itself. And what happened afterwards is that I was able to start with minoxidil, and when I started with minoxidil and microneedling, I was able to grow back my hair. And prior to that, I had tried many times minoxidil by itself, right? So basically what happened is that in 2010, 2011, 2012, I tried minoxidil application multiple times, and I did try different formulations of minoxidil. And what happened is that each time my scalp would get out of balance and to start to burn, and I would have a lot more hair shedding. My hair would fall out much rapidly, and that basically was a sign for me that I could not use minoxidil. And again, the reason for it was that I was having scalp inflammation on my scalp, and when you have inflammatory problems on the scalp, you don't want to apply anything else that could be affecting or aggravating the problem one is already having. And what happened next, and what is the interesting part, what I want to show you, is that I checked my my scalp with microscope in 2014, like a second half of 2014. And what happened is that I noticed that there was, first of all, no inflammation at all, and my scalp was in a good state, but additionally, the mineralization was gone, right? You can see in those pictures that there is no mineralization compared to before when I had inflammation and I was just on finasteride. So what is my point? My point here is that you have to address this hair loss from multiple angles, right? It's very important. And first of all, you want to be sure that you are addressing DHT, but also work on your DHT sensitivity, because if you just work on DHT, it is not going to be sufficient long-term to keep finasteride, for example, effect. And second factor you need to work on is about scalp health. Like, so if you are having, for example, inflammation in your scalp, buildups in your scalp, or itchiness, burning sensation, or redness, like they are highly problematical for your follicles, right? So even if you are addressing DHT angle, the mineralization can still occur like it did for me, right? So you have to address that part well. And you have to find out if the problem is just localizing your scalp itself, or is it actually internally caused or amplified by external factors, right? So you have to figure this out and make sure that your scalp is in great state and in a balance, right? And that's the next step. And when you have done that part, then you can start to focus on growth stimulant. And again, it doesn't have to be minoxidil that you use as growth stimulant. There is multiple options that you can use for growth stimulation. It's just, in my case, back when I started to address my hair regrowth part, there was not so many options available, right? So that was kind of thing back then. And additionally, my hair loss and progressions that had a cord was quite aggressive, and I also didn't start to apply minoxidil, or I was not able to start to apply minoxidil until I was 29 years old, right? So there was a long timeline with different hair loss causes in my case, and my follicles itself was not in a strong state when I had to, when I was able to start with growth stimulation, right? So for me, minoxidil was a very good option, right? And it did give me great results, but again, those results came after I have addressed scalp environment and fixed my scalp inflammatory problems. So my take on this video is that scalp inflammation is a problem that you have to work on address, right? So if you are having scalp inflammatory problems, microinflammation, it will affect effectiveness treatment, right? So make sure that you address that angle, and also of course make sure that you address adrenergic angle, adrenergic alopecia angle, and of course growth stimulation if your hair loss has been progressing for a while, like it had to happen for me. And this will give you best results possible. And for you guys who struggle with this kind of issue, if you are on, for example, treatment and you're not seeing results you're looking for, or treatment is not working at all, book a session below this video. Let's speak. Let's find a solution for your problem once and for all. And you may know that I do have a rapid rehab program where I work with the guys directly to address the problems they are having in terms of hair loss. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and see you next time.